cooking. And so I picked the same model for raising my children. When they were young, they learned that teamwork is what family does. I have had in my time of training parents, I have had parents say they would never have their children do dishes because that's mistreating their children. I have had parents say they feel guilty asking their children to do chores in the house. And I want to encourage you because you have to think about their future. One of the things that I really embrace about my mom, my parents, is that they weren't thinking about what was uncomfortable for us when they were raising us. They were thinking about the future. They were thinking about our lives when we were grown. How are we going to handle life? So they trained us in their home how to handle life as adults when we are all grown. And I've trained my children the same way. One thing is that it really builds self-esteem in a child when they know that they can get up, they can make their breakfast, they can make their lunch, they know how to run a home. It actually prepares your child for even leadership roles, believe it or not. Because what happens is your child starts to learn to do things independently, and then they realize that they can do those things independently. And what that does is that it boosts their esteem. You can start little by little. You don't have to throw everything at them once. I started when they were young. So I would start one day, do just the cups. This is how you do the cups. This is how you load the dishwasher. And so they would learn that. And then I would add one more thing to it. Okay, now let's do the plates. And then they would do the cups and the plates. Okay, now let's add the pots. Let's learn how to do your bed. Let's learn how to clean up. And let me tell you something. I have to confess this. My younger one came at a time when my life was very disorganized. So I didn't start with her as early as I started with Nate. So I had catching up to do. But if you have been that parent who didn't start in time, it's not hopeless. What I did was have conversations with her. I said, this is what happened. This is where things went wrong. But let's clean up your room. Let's learn to make your bed neatly, not just to throw the blankets around, but to make it so that it looks nice. Let's learn to tidy your room. I'm sorry, I dropped the ball. I should have done this when you are younger, but it's not too late. And we've learned, we've turned the curve and seen organization and things change. The thing you don't want to do is you don't want to force things. You don't want to put down your child because they don't know how to do something. If you don't take time to train them, they will not know. And that's the mistake a lot of parents make, is they think, oh, my child will grow and they'll learn when they are grown. And I have also met parents who are devastated because at the age of 18, the child is throwing their clothes on the floor. They are untidy, they don't know how to clean up, and by that time they are really set in their ways. It's very hard to start changing them because they have formed, they are living their lives. Some are leaving your home and starting their own life independently, and that's how they start their life, and then they start a generation of chaos. So it's really important, as much as possible, catch on these things. You're not mistreating your child by training them to be responsible at a young age. Here's another good one. Someone said, I don't want to tell my children that I get tired. No, your children need to know that you are a human being as a parent. When your children hurt your feelings, talk with them about it. Tell them why what they said is inappropriate, not quarreling, not yelling at them, but be the parent that you are and just calmly explain to them, what you said really hurt my feelings. Maybe next time you can say it this way. And children do here, they change. I've done it with my own, and so I'm telling you something that I have practiced. I didn't only learn this in psychology, I have practiced it and it works. It's just more work because you have to do a lot more talking and you have to really work on yourself. You have to work on yourself to become whole if you're going to raise whole children. If you try to raise your children to be whole while you are broken, it's not gonna work out. So you have to work on yourself. But children need to understand that parents are human beings. If they hurt your feelings, let them know in a gentle way. When you come to work, like me, okay, in Kenya, parents have a lot of help. Some parents who have a job outside of their home are able to hire a maid in the home because of the economies of Kenya as a country. That's easy to do. That's not easy to do in America. So I go to work and I come home and I cook. And no, I don't give my family fast food. I actually like to cook from scratch because then I know what my family is eating. Not to say we don't eat out once in a while, not to say we don't eat fast foods once in a while, but it's once in a while. So teaching children the value of cooking so that they understand it's not about when you have a lot of money or you're working so much out there and then you come and buy food on your way home is the same as cooking at home, because it's not. You are eating things you don't know what you are eating. So it's good to train them to cook. It also brings the family together. When you work together as a team, like we work in this home, my husband, my kids, we all work together as a family. And it just really brings the family together, even caring for each other. Because how you train your children to care about you, you know, parents have needs. And it's good to train your children that as a parent, you have needs, just like they have needs. That's part of training them for life. If you shield them from any pain, from any disappointment, from any hurt, by not training them these things, actually you are raising very selfish children who grow up and they can't even be good parents because they are always self-focused. Me, 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 me. Entitled, irresponsible, and they are not even able to be good parents. They are not able to be a good husband or wife because their focus is always me, 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 me. The more you give your children, it's not equal to how they will turn out good. Actually, it's the opposite. Train your children real life. Train them to think about other people. Train them to think about you as a parent. When you have needs, your children need to understand that, because some children treat their parents so badly. But guess what? If you follow back, it might most probably be based on how you trained them to treat you. If you train them you don't matter, actually it's as sad as it is. The Bible says, train them in the way they shall grow. As a parent, if you train your children you don't matter, they will grow up treating you like you don't matter. And even when you are old, they'll still treat you like you don't matter, because in life you actually train people. I'm preparing to make samosa later. I plan on making some samosa, so I'm making the ground beef so that I can use it for making samosa. So as parents, you have a very great responsibility to train your child how to treat you as a human being, how to treat other people, and how to treat even their own children. And it all starts with how you train them growing up to be a team in the home. Train your children that when you come from work tired, you are tired. And so let's work together. If I'm cooking and somebody is doing dishes, then we can all sit together and enjoy the meal together. Instead of, as a wife, you are scrambling to cook, and then you're scrambling to do dishes. And here is what some women do. This is also something that has come to my awareness, is women who will fight with their husband because you want him in the kitchen to cook and clean, because you don't want your children to do the work. They are children. Let's do everything for the children. They are children. And then you're always fighting with your husband. It's important to understand that men are wired differently. They think differently. And if you don't learn that wisdom, you will always cause chaos in your home as a woman. And so, you know, children need to learn how to be a team. Your husband is not somebody that you are going to make do things, yell at him, let him help out, but treat him with respect. Don't push him around, because then you're not gonna have a happy home. Now, some people might get really upset that I'm saying this. They might say, oh, you're causing women to be oppressed. Oh, but there is family laws. There's a certain way God created a man. There's a certain way God created a woman. And there's a lot of unhappiness in marriages because of false expectations, because there are people who think they can change their husband to be like another woman in the house. And it's funny how we are attracted to the opposite, and then we get married and we want to change them to be like us. You want to change your children to be like you. So he's doing dishes, he's loading the dishwasher, but if I have to expect him to load the dishwasher exactly the same way that I do it, I'm not letting him be the person of himself. We have to learn to let other people in the house be. Train your children how to help. Talk with your husband what your needs are and let him come in. Women, read Proverbs 31, 10 to 33. You don't have to fight in your house every day. You don't even have to be fighting. Yes, you can get upset at each other, but they never have to turn into fights at all. In my house, we don't fight. I'm telling you, we don't. Because I'm constantly working on asking God for wisdom. Always constantly looking for the best way to say things. Always treating my children with respect. Treating my husband with respect. My dad with respect. My mom, my family. Nate, why are you looking back? Am I lying? I was making sure that I didn't say something he's going like, what, mom? No, we don't fight in this home. And I'm always telling my kids, just because our home is so peaceful, don't think this is how every home is, because it's not. I actually tell them, be very careful who you mingle with in the future, because how we are raising you here is not like the norm of the world. So you don't have to be fighting in your home. The more you work on yourself as a woman to be whole, the more you bring your family in, and the more you train your family, especially your children, that all human beings are valuable. Train them. I train my children that I'm valuable. I train them not to talk back to me. Do they try? They've tried. No, they don't get away with it. I train them that I'm valuable. I train them that I get tired. I train them that some of what they've said hurts, and I see them changing. So train your children. Yes, sometimes they'll have hard feelings when you correct them, but guess what? At least they know where things stand. Instead of building resentment, because here is what happens. The truth is, if you're not telling the people you live with that they've hurt you, the fact is resentment is building in that family. And then there's lack of trust, there's lack of healthy relationships, because when trust is broken, when there is resentment eating away, then relationships cannot thrive. So being very conversational, being very honest. Yes, your child might feel embarrassed, but also don't train your children in public. I mean, don't correct them in public. Don't even correct them in front of the other family members as much as possible. As much as possible. There might be times you correct right there and then, but as much as possible, find a time, isolate them, and talk with them. Now you're treating them with respect, and they can receive correction easier than if you just blah, 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 blah in front of everybody. You embarrass them, you hurt them, you belittle them. Correction is not equal to belittling. But sometimes you're gonna hurt their feelings, because humanly we don't like to be told we are wrong. Humanly we don't like to admit we are wrong. So you might hurt their feelings. Be aware of that, and that's okay. Acknowledge that. Even in your conversation, say, I know this might hurt your feelings to tell you this, but da 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 da. And they receive it much better. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that in there. Teamwork builds the family. It builds your children for their future. And then you are training them how to raise a healthy family. God bless